Hello and welcome to what will be our penultimate session of Dune Adventures of the Imperium. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is an online gaming community, online gaming club. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. Dune, this particular version, is a game which uses the 2D20 system from Modiphius. We're kind of playing around with that, getting still used to it, and we've got some things that are in play. So some big things that are in play from last time. So I am going to have people reintroduce their characters briefly, and then we will set up where we are at. Let us start with Ismina.
Yes, so I'm Danielle, pronouns she, her, and I'm playing Ismina Corrigan, a swordmaster in training, a protector who is, last time we saw her, she kind of touched down and was catching up with the War Master, learned that she could help select some of the forces going in back into Stocknagan, and then was informed that there were unexpected guests that could bring danger with them. So she's running around the halls trying to make sure that the Duke and the consort are protected.
Excellent. And that brings us to Stall.
Stall, pronouns he, him, played by me. Fraser, also pronouns he, him, is the advisor or a subsection advisor / pollinator of House Anthier, who is responsible for spreading the philosophy of the house, and that is like the extension of belief and truth that the people of the house generally hold. And he's a non-fighter type person, though from time to time does have sneaky skills.
From time to time, and did smash a hunter killer spider last time. So there is that. Which brings us full circle to Seraphina.
Hi, I'm Brandon, he, him. I'm playing Seraphina Veer, she, her, who is the Vice Marshal of House Anthier and a Marduk School trained empath who has never been known to lie. She uses her talents in gaining allies for the house and in establishing law and order. Albeit last time she had to make the case before all the Duke and all of the gathered nobility that she did not overstep her boundaries in making a promise of alliance to a set of criminal gangs that she felt at the time were critical to the house's prosperity. And she is still unsure whether or not her position is secure. But at the moment, she has thrown herself in to assist the envoy in dealing with this most unexpected diplomatic visitor, and trying to diminish the impact that this chaotic event will necessarily have, whatever its origin.
And so to refresh where we're at, you would return back. You had a conference that was it's a little bit turmoil there between the Duke kind of demanding some explanation for some maneuvers that you had made. And Seraphina did present a good case, but clearly this is a serious matter for the Duke, and the Duke is also maybe a little bit bothered that Stahl didn't completely track down the engineers of the theological meme that was going on, and but hasn't had a chance to yell at Stahl yet. So that is out there. But what you know is that like just a few hours ago, a message was received that a vessel from House Pericos being a more powerful house than your own, larger, that has some tensions with you, has some rivalries, particularly over the chemical and biochemical materials. They're not the issue of the religious theory and philosophy is not important to them. They're a more practical focus, but they're also not overt enemies, and they certainly don't have they haven't entered into Canley to murder all of you like the other house has. But this is very strange, completely out of the ordinary that they would arrive. Now, just after that news had come down, then Serafina and the company had spotted some people, were able to neutralize them. They were Zerat agents who were clearly on the ground. Whether they knew of the arrival of the ship or whether they were just kind of in the mix, it's unclear right now. But this ship has arrived, and it is a major ship. Like, it's very clearly a ducal transport vessel that has arrived, and we've ended with this sort of the entourage, including the Duke of Pericos herself, walking out, surrounded by an entourage. You definitely spotted a sword master at her side, a figure with you're not sure if it's an Ix or another kind of mechanical device to replace a certain portion of his throat and mouth. There's a woman beside her who is dressed more formally, who seems to be, you would guess, has that look of a diplomatic attaché. And there is definitely another woman trailing behind who has the red lips of a mentat. And there are some others in her company that are there. And you are all kind of in position now. I believe, Serafina, you are kind of up at the front with the receiving entourage. And Ismena, remind me of where you are at this point.
I believe I was making the hallway safe, and so I think I'm wherever the party is coming, whether that's the dining room.
I think the sort of the ground passage, you're making it clear so everything is secure on this across the tarmac into the household. I believe you've got that set so that is fairly impervious.
Yeah. So I think I am probably fidgeting inside at the end, wherever that like opens out into.
And where are you, Stall?
I was setting the dishes.
Table? Okay.
Yeah.
So you are inside as this is going on. And I think from where you're at, Stall, you'll see the various people of the house who are not out there kind of on the tarmac greeting people, like Nikos Zerat, the scholar, and Match Peak and Osmond. Those people they're milling about in a way that expresses to you the real tension of what is going on, that they have no idea what is happening, why this is happening, and they're clearly kind of on their back foot right now. So we cut forward. You will see Pericos, the Duke Pericos walks fairly casually. The others are certainly looking around. in a way to kind of just survey the situation, to kind of maybe their glances are a little judgy as they are looking around, but they will come forward, and your Duke will speak the formal words of greeting, and Duke Paracos will pointedly thanks Duke Philippa for her hospitality and for extending the rights of hospitality to her as guests, and apologizes for the imposition, and says, I would not have put you in such a position were the situation not requiring it. Other forces have arrayed to cause this, but we will have time to speak of that. I hope that we will not have to tarry long. Not that I do not think that your house will be hospitable and welcoming, but that I do not want to place undue pressure upon you. And there are probably some other sort of formal walkthroughs of that. Yeah, that's a good question. Do you want to try to kind of read through what's going on here, Serafina?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
What
I mean,
do you think is appropriate here?
Does my passive scrutiny operate first?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
to.
start with that. Yeah.
Okay. Why are they being so nice?
Because this is unplanned, because this is not what they would have wanted to do, because they have put themselves essentially in your power. Like they have
a sudden need.
They have a sudden need. Yeah.
And they don't have anybody else they can turn to.
Right.
Got it. So yes, now I will try to see if I can get more. Their words are very formal, but I'm going to pay attention to their stance.
Okay.
And who's looking at whom and such, which is an understand, and it's truth. This is
absolutely
playing to
this is
my
your
greatest strength.
Absolutely.
Is figuring out what people are thinking. And I am anyone who is very near me would see me doing a very toned down version of rapport.
Yeah. So this is difficulty 3. They've got a mentat there. They're formally trained.
Yes.
But you've got a chance to
I'm going to
be
spend
up close.
I'm going to spend a momentum.
Okay.
From the pool. That is 5 successes.
5 successes. So let's start. I mean, this is an understand test. So like the base success is going to get you that question. Then you're going to have 2 momentum to do with what you want. So what is it you want to know here?
How are they vulnerable? Other than the time constraint, I understand, but how can we? Basically, I'm trying to think how can we best turn this to advantage. But without knowing the specific details, that's a difficult question to answer. So
the thing is, I mean, and this kind of puts 2 and 2 together in terms of how would they be discombobulated? How, why are they here? Something has clearly happened with the guild. Why are they even in system? That there's as we mentioned before, there's a planet that's a guild hub support planet here, but so why are they here? it does just the kind of the language and stuff. They're not pleased about being here. This isn't what they expected to be, and so there's clearly some entanglement with the guild that has caused this. You've got 2 momentum, which you may use to ask more questions.
I'm going to spend one of them
Okay.
To ask a question, which is, among the people here who are high level,
Mm-hmm.
who's the weak spot?
Who is the weak spot?
Who's the one that we can push on? It won't be the Duke. But someone here is more vulnerable than others to persuasion. Or who's well, maybe not the weak spot.
Let me give you a sense based on that question.
The most natural ally, perhaps, is a different way to say the same thing.
Well, that's a very different question. So which is it?
I'll take the second one.
Okay.
Which is, yes, who is the most sympathetic or the most likely to
the person who is certainly going to be most charitable here, because they are clearly the person who is trained in the diplomatic arts, and is a person kind of on the spot when perhaps they weren't expecting it, is that attaché Salaskiani. They're the person who's going to kind of have to handle the setup and the sort of the day-to-day interactions and talking with you about all of the diplomatic and living quarters and all of those things. They're the person who is most wants to keep their boss happy and you happy at the same time. And your other question?
The other momentum I'm going to put back in the pool.
Okay.
I will murmur a very brief synopsis of my take to Alan Vathana.
Okay. Then as a nod there, and the party begins to move inside. Ismina, you have a chance to kind of observe here, kind of shadow this as you move the 1 mile hike to the dining room. So what are you doing?
I think I'm scanning them. I'm also looking at their sword master to see if he seems to be looking at us as a threat or if he's looking at other things, or like who he's paying the most attention to in their party.
Yeah, let's just have you make a roll. What do you feel is the right way to kind of read the people, read the situation here?
I feel like this is it's either duty or truth, because it's curiosity, but I feel like she's scanning to best.
Yeah, let's go with duty.
Duty, and I kind of feel like it's defensive, as far as, but
yeah,
it could be understand. Because it's not there's no
depends on what if you're using battle, then your questions are going to focus around that. Understanding gives you a more broader palette of questions that you can ask.
Well, let me do understand then,
okay.
Just because I want an open, and I don't even know exactly what the threat would be, just that I'm kind of curious about this. Okay. Is that is 1d20?
2d20.
Oh, two, yeah. For
because that's twice as good as a 1d20 game.
It has been a week, I guess, and I've already forgotten how many dice I roll. And I'm looking for 15 and under. No, 14.
Yeah.
Or,
wait, 14. You're right.
14. Ooh. 1 success.
So that's 1 success. Now you do have determination, because that would have reset if you wanted to re-roll with that, or I can just give you kind of a sketchy information.
Yeah, I didn't choose it as a battle test, or I could have used one of my things to reroll. I sure, let's use determination. I'm sure that won't
Absolutely.
let's just get rid of that right now. And then so that's just a full reroll then?
No, you keep the one success and then you reroll the other d20.
Hey.
Yeah. So let me give you a little bit of information, then I'll let you ask your question. Because you're kind of focusing on the sword master. Your general sense of how he's looking around is his demeanor is not that you your house is a threat. Like that's not what he is observing for. He's trying to judge like how much control you guys actually have of the situation here, because you're newly arrived, and so clearly part of his concern is not that you present a danger, but that this world may not be stable. You may not have control, and definitely as you're walking along the way in, his attitude seems to be, okay, yeah, they do have control over this. You've set up the lines of defenses. That seems right. So what is the question? What is it you want to know most?
If it's kind of, because we want to, do I know, and maybe this is just a question for the table, do
Sure.
we know if we want to impress these people or do we want to befriend them? Because like there's some kind of tension there, but I don't know if it's like, do we want to be like, yeah, we're so much better than you, or do we want that tension to dissolve into, yes, we can be allies and be supportive of each other?
Those two things may actually go together. It would be my thing, is that right now they come prior to this, they thought of themselves as above us.
Okay.
If we can impress them, then we may become a prospective ally.
Okay. Yeah.
Stahl, what do you think? I'm going to get your input as well.
Is it a mechanical thing that we can do that does that?
Yeah,
like yeah,
that's a conflict. Essentially, that's building up successes over time of trying to impress and develop a rapport. Because right now, your conflict with Paracos is primarily a commercial one.
Okay, then yeah, we might as well try to do that, especially since we don't. Do we even have allies?
Well, you
great
have
job.
a potential vassal family that is made up of smugglers and scum that you're trying to bring into the house, but that's another issue.
Imperially speaking, no, we don't.
Yeah, so maybe we get these people into bed with us.
All right, Ismina, with those comments in mind, what does it you want to know?
I think I want to know what we can do for them besides like giving them temporary stay. Like, is there something? They're already a little bit in our debt, but like maybe I can see, like, are they missing something in their party? Do they seem to be missing something that we have? Does anyone seem to be like, maybe we have maybe they could use some of our, like, because they're very interested in our bio weapon stuff, like our nerve, our, like Esmina carries those poisons around. Is there some kind of like security buff? Or
I think one of the things that will strike you is that you would expect a larger staff here with the Duke, like the people who would be the scholars and information people and things like that, or even the spy master. Now the spy master may be in and amongst people and you're not seeing them, but it says to you that like they must have been in the middle of something that they maybe don't have access to the kind of information and things that they need or that they're comfortable with or so on. And certainly being forthcoming on that part may be to your interest.
Okay. Okay, I think she would just, yeah, scan that and then mention to Anthony, mention to the sword master that like they don't have their knowledge people here. If that is of use to the Duke, perhaps we can help.
And we'll see the group move in. Stall, you're inside, kind of at the at the side watching this. You definitely see that your chancellor, is that the word for it? Your counselor has been, again, still moving around, getting things set up, and you would see the consort has moved kind of his position. He's here in the dining area, kind of as a a person receiving, and you'll see the group approaching, and you definitely see the consort like visibly stiffen up as that group approaches.
Like our consort.
Yeah.
Can I tell why or ask
Do you
somebody?
want to read the situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Trying to understand, I think.
Yeah.
And
Duty, truth?
yeah. Probably duty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have
So
you
12?
roll that 12 or less.
11 and a 6.
Okay. So he's a little easy to read on this. I'm going to give you the basic answer to your question, then I'm going to give you a follow-up. He clearly knows the Mentat.
Oh.
And in fact, when you look, there's a definite resemblance between the two of them, and you're like, okay, those two are related.
Which one's the evil twin? Okay. So is it a pleasant reaction to the person or like a, oh no?
It's a moment of a shock and maybe even a little bit of upset and dismay before he
Reins it in.
But what's your follow-up question? Or you can just throw that momentum into the pool.
Is that a pliable relationship?
What do you mean by pliable?
Could we use that person, our person, as a vector of controlling the other one? Or
could you
influencing?
use the consort to influence the Mentat?
Yes.
You don't think so, because that's a Mentat. Now,
And
mind you,
they're like-
Mentats have blind spots, but Mentats are highly disciplined to what they do, highly focused on their things. Unless she has a major blind spot about him, and that's certainly a possibility. That's going to be a difficult thing.
Okay. And mentats are the like computer brain people, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
they're the ones that do the socio-economic calculations in their head, that read the variables of things. They're not like the guild who use spice to predict the future, but they definitely imbibe various things and have been trained to view things in a very different way.
Is that why they got the red lips? They've been juicing.
Yeah, there's I can't remember what it's called right now, but there is a it's like a betel that they chew on. They do the new mass. So they will come in, and I think that people will move to their places here. I think you will see the Mentat kind of stop, and she looks. She doesn't acknowledge the consort, but she does the thing where she looks around the room and reads the situation, reads the layout of the people and where people are assigned to sit, and so on. And you'll see her step over to the counselor who's there and asks a question, and the counselor points at you, Stahl. And she takes note of that. The Duke will move people to sit. Serafina, you are there to be seated. Ismina, as you come in, the Duke actually will step over to you and will say, I have asked Zelf to stay at large.
So you need me here at your
Yes. I also want you to liaison with their swordmaster to see to their needs and so on. Speak with him as is needed. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Anything you need, Your Grace. They have their defensive people, but they don't seem to have their scientists and other theologians. So perhaps that will be a fruitful connection for us. But I think Ismina just kind of like nods and then is ready to scoot out after having stepped.
And the Duke will turn to your Duke will turn to Paracos and will say, "This is my swordmaster's second. She will see to any needs that you have for security here within the palace. I've asked my own swordmaster to make sure that the grounds around the ship and elsewhere are secure. So I have assigned him to that role. So Ismina is in my eyes equal to our swordmaster in rights and responsibilities."
Oh, Ismina beams and executes a very smart little sort of a military bow situation.
And people are moved into position to sit and dine. There's a luggage that is being brought in and taken to various places. There are secondary security people who are moving up from their place to kind of make sure the rooms are secure and free of obvious sniffers or murder machines or anything like that. But there will be a bit of small talk before Duke Paracos will kind of open the gambit here and say, we were traveling to another system when the guild navigators informed us that there was an issue and that there is something going on with the guild. she'll say, I don't know exactly what it is yet, but there is some turmoil, some tumult in the stars. And the guild refunded us a portion of the payment that we had made for travel, and gave us little notice. We could have settled on the Guild Navigator planet, but given the presence of your houses, and kind of looks around, accommodations, I thought we would take advantage of that. We are still figuring out exactly what is going on, and I hope that we will not impose on you too much, and we will not be a burden to you while we are here. And the Duke, your Duke, kind of nods and says, that is most unusual. I will ask our people what they have heard, and we will share information on this. This is most unlike the guild. So it is concerning. And so they kind of settle into that, small talk, discussion, that kind of thing. Serafina, this is kind of your I don't want to say bailiwick, but your area. What is it you want to try and do during this conversation, this dinner, from your people, from their people? Right now, you have a trait that has been put on the situation by Stahl, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but it has to do with dinner plates. But I can't remember exactly what we called that trait, but Stahl has certainly done some work to arrange the psychodrama of the room to your assistance. So Seraphine, let me start with you.
I would expect them to believe that we would be cagey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to do the opposite, which is that I'm going to be flat open with them.
Okay.
And I'm going to, and they can see my facial tattoo, which is my personal asset.
Right.
So I'm basically going to say, this is a regrettable thing. On the other hand, this is an enormous opportunity. And if we can find a solution to this together, it bodes well for our continued mutual assistance. And I do that in a way that emphasizes, the very true fact that they have a lot of power, but also that they're in a bind.
Yeah, let's what do you think is going to be appropriate for kind of building up the ticks on that clock of building some camaraderie and understanding?
This is communication.
Okay.
And it's truth. I'm being absolutely open.
Okay.
I will borrow another die out of the pool because this is important.
This situation definitely would be a 3, brought down to a 2 by Stahl's work here.
And I don't know what my status as an empath, the asset that I have there, does or doesn't do.
Yeah, I think the mentat works as a counter to that. You
Fair
and
enough.
you can tell that you want to get the mentat out from the conversation as soon as you can.
I do. The the empaths. I think empaths and mentats don't like each other very much. Um, because empaths are all about emotion and mentats are all about ratiocination, and logic, and so they don't get along. Not that I would not that I show the least opprobrium.
Right.
I just I am playing. I am going for rapport.
Okay.
Here we go. That is 6 successes.
6 successes. So you've got how much of that? So you got one base success that's going to go as a tick on the big clock, and then you've got 3 extra. You can put more towards that clock. You can ask questions. You could establish trait. You could put it into the pool. What do you want to do with the 3 points?
I'm going to put the whole thing towards the clock.
Okay. There's clearly
and I'm basically answering. When they ask a question, I'm answering the question. I'm answering the question truthfully, except for those things which I am not permitted to speak about. Whereupon I will simply nod and say, "That's a very interesting question, but you should direct it towards X."
There is definitely a sense of like a coming down of the initial worry about how tense or how much your house was going to push on this, whether you were a grasping family that might attempt to take immediate advantage of this, and when that does not come about, immediately, they definitely, there's a certain degree of relaxation, especially amongst their envoy there, and their mentat kind of shifts to trying to assay the broader situation rather than just the small micro of the interactions here. Stahl, what about you? What are you doing? Are you talking to a particular person? Are you trying to gauge something?
Who was the person that got pointed to me?
That's the mentat.
What's their
Okay.
name?
Their name is, let me get to the NPC page here. That is Shajari Niseth.
Do they drink?
They will, yes.
I try to get them drunk. I just tell like a waiter to keep the drinks coming for that particular person, and then I just go and talk to them. Maybe that's how I try to divest them from the conversation that Seraphine is having, basically.
Okay. So
Since they're clearly interested in me, they're pointed at me. They want me.
They will. There will be that bit where there's a chance for people to move and mingle and so on. You definitely see the consort has trying to, certainly keeping an eye, and maybe has a worried look on his face when he sees you go over to her. And she will look and she will say, "You are Stahl."
I am. What can I do for you?
You're the one who approached me.
But you were the one that was looking first.
I asked who had created the arrangement of the plates here. It seems to speak a certain amount of psychological conditioning in an attempt to gain an edge in negotiations. So I was curious about who that was.
Well, you certainly can't blame us since you arrived here without invitation or yeah.
That is not entirely correct. Now, for one, let us begin at the first part of your statement. I don't think any blame was given. I was merely stating a fact of the situation. Secondly, we did ask for an invitation when the situation was posed, and we requested that, and we were granted that invitation.
I just tip their glass.
I think I've had enough. Thank you.
Um,
I understand that you
Here's a-
are a theological engineer.
well, I wouldn't say engineer, more like a truth seeker.
Fine, let us use that as a synonym, shall we?
We are always refining our philosophy. Most places do not do that. We welcome interpretation and critical thinking, such as yourself.
You refine your theology of destruction.
What makes you think theology is destructive?
I do not think theology is destructive. I think your form of theology is intended to dismantle other forms of thought and philosophy.
And
Am I incorrect?
would you say that the philosophy being attacked is destructive in itself?
That is dependent on the context and the situation. If the context of the situation is yours interacting with the other philosophy, then yes, it is a destructive matter of your philosophy. In and of itself, outside of that, is it inherently destructive? I could not say. I'm not a theologian.
But you presuppose what our theology is fundamentally about? Interesting.
So it is not about the undoing and revealing the flaws in other theological constructs. I thought that's what your family sold.
Your assertion is that, what if I told you that going and refining your philosophy to the truth, as a sculpture does, finding their mold in their works, is the same thing as what we are trying to do? Just because what we do also is violent to a certain other theology does not mean that we are not looking for the truth as well.
An artisan is an interesting analogy. I would have used perhaps a honing, a blade of some sort. So what do you want to have for the back and forth here? To kind of you're trying to gain a little bit of edge, trying to impress, I think here, right?
Yeah, and I was trying to do hidden motives too.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
When an opponent fails an understand or communicate test against you, you can create a trait.
Well, let's have you roll as we kind of flip the script on this, so that we'll have you roll and we'll see what you get.
Let's see. Am I communicating? Am I attempting to persuade or deceive them? It seems like it.
I think so, definitely.
And I'm trying to do it with either truth or faith. The last part of the argument was me trying to articulate, maybe not so well, but the morality should stem from truth part.
That sounds good.
Okay. And
do you want to use your determination then to set one of your dice to a 1?
No.
Because that'll give you 2 successes.
How difficult is this?
Right now, I think we're difficulty, this is a mentat, so normally I'd say 4. We're down 1 for wine and dinner service.
Yeah, and they're
so
drinking.
Difficulty 3.
Okay. And what? Because I'm using my drive statement, does that help?
That's the only reason that you're allowed to use your determination is because your drive statement matches what you're doing.
Okay, and then I get.
Do we? We have 2 things of momentum, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm nearby, so if you fail, I can help you re-roll. This is an FYI.
Is that better economically than me?
So right now, if you spend your determination, you're going to roll 1d20. You're going to based on your stats, and you're already going to start with the 2 successes. So you could continue to get 0, 1, or 2 more.
Spending the determination ahead of time is your best bet to try to succeed.
All right. Well, I don't know if it's that important, but I want to I
Oh,
want to own
absolutely.
this person.
So
This feels
communication,
important.
communication, and you said truth or faith?
A truth.
Truth. Okay. So that's 13 or less. Roll 1d20.
1d20?
Yeah, because if you spend determination,
Oh,
then
right.
you one of the dice goes boom.
Oh god, I rolled a 20. Maybe
Well,
I
it's
have
good thing that Ismina is right by you.
Yeah. Yeah, can I do this where I'm happen to be walking after I intercept that look from Seraphina as she's clocking what's going on? I just kind of like what glide by silently, and I don't know, maybe you're like reaching out to like poke their glass again, and I just like nudge you from behind or like kick your chair or something like that.
Okay, then you may re-roll stall.
You're not supposed to tip people's wine glasses?
Good. So complicated.
Just a reminder, like be like, don't do the 8th grade thing of like steal the hat and run around with it.
Yeah. I thought we were supposed to be shotgunning this. And so I re-roll it?
Yep.
Need a more powerful drug than wine.
7.
So there is that bit where she leans back and she laughs, and she goes, That's very good. That's very good. I would be very interested if it is not a house secret to talk with you about how your work has been going here on planet. It is a interesting situation you are placed in, a house that betrayed the empire and fled, that poisoned its people with certain philosophies, and then under imperial control. And she says that very deliberately to imply under the boot of the empire. So I would be very curious to see how you work to transmit your philosophies to the local population. As I understand it, your work has been primarily with larger organized forces, places perhaps where certain other organizations have imposed certain viewpoints. So I'm curious about in a place that is less rigid, more complex, how your philosophy works.
And so this house, is this the house that's higher than us?
Yeah.
Should I go show her my game?
Well, let's talk. What trait do you want to put on her with this as a part of your ability there?
Something towards working towards allyship, like maybe it seemed like.
Is she intrigued? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Yes.
intrigued. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
also has potential physical connotations.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. But she'll probably try to jump me once she sees my game, right? Once I get that psycho-theologian talking.
Mentats love nerds.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Let me explain this game that I'm going to play.
Yeah.
And the game is life.
It's 90 minutes of teaching the rules. It's just like a board game.
Yeah.
It
That's
hasn't
the
even
abridged
seen my
version.
collection yet.
That's the abridged version. You don't even want the psycho-theologian to explain the rules to you.
Ismina.
Yes.
There will be a bit when that swordmaster comes over to you, and he greets you, and when he speaks, you know that the Ixians can make voice boxes that sound normal, that have a voice that does sound like a real person. He's very clearly chosen not to have that. His voice is definitely more grating and mechanical when it comes out, and it's a calculated choice on his part, in part because it maybe makes it harder to kind of read from his vocal tones. But he will greet you and he will say, "It is Ismina, is it not?"
Yes. Swordmaster, what's his name? Mellet, I presume?
Yes. Yes. If you would, if you could perhaps accompany me as we walk through the chambers. I just want to be certain about the guard status and so on.
Naturally. And I think she nods and walks with him to go survey things. And I think as they're walking, expresses a kind of, I'm sorry you had such a sudden interruption. I would be similarly off balance, but your party's handling it very well.
We are fortunate that you and your house is as accommodating as you have been. You're in a very difficult position here. I could see coming in to have an assay of the number of troops you have and the size of the quadrants that you have to occupy. As I understand, your previous holding was much smaller.
Yes, as with all growth, there is growing pains, but I believe we've been preparing for this, and it's an adjustment, but I've just returned from a mission where things were moving along fairly well. I think she just sort of nods and says, Anthir has good leadership and a good team, so we're happy that you're able to see that.
He stops and he says, when we were making the transfer from the guild ship, we have other vessels that are still aboard that as we were heading elsewhere. I say that not as a threat, but just to inform you so that you know that this vessel that we came in on is not the singular one. But and where that there was at least one Zerat cruiser on board the guild ship.
Wonderful.
I'm not certain if there are more in the area, but I know you have probably a sense of Zerat's already in here, but I thought I would add that to your information.
Thank you. You know how valuable that is. I thought, I think she just is like, yes, I had to make sure some things were neutralized earlier, but like a weed, keeps cropping up until you pull it out at the root, which is not, we're not quite able to do yet, but rest assured, we've hopefully kept this as safe as possible, and with you here, I know that hopefully nothing will interfere with your stay as well, but good to know. I will make sure my sword master is informed as well.
That is appreciated. Is there anything else, if I may ask, that I should be aware of security-wise?
I mean, is that like, oh, by the way, we have another prisoner in the basement who's a smuggler. Like, I don't feel like I need to tell.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. The question is he's essentially asking, if there are other details about the security that he should be aware of. He's giving you the opportunity to kind of impress him with how forthcoming you are, and to B, give your analysis, your read of the situation.
Yeah, I almost wanted to see if there was a way to do that with discipline, so I could use that to fight them is to know them.
Yeah.
But that requires a conflict. But I just want to do kind of like when she set up outside and impressed the Zerat spies. Like,
Which
I
way do
just
you want to,
wanted
how forceful do you want to be in this?
I think I want to either do something by demonstrating either something that I have on my person or some maneuver that, wherever I bring him to impress him via our like discipline and control, that like we actually have
Yeah.
some really good
Let's say
security.
duty plus discipline.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, that is what. Okay. So that's 15 or under. Oh, this is a 20. A success and a 20. And I've already used my determination.
Oh, did
wait.
you?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not. Oh,
Mr. Surprised person.
did I do that on a dinner roll? Let's see. No, but that's a that's with that's a battle test, not a discipline test.
So normally be a 2. We have stalls work in play set up, so that trait is still on them, at least for this scene. So it's difficulty 1. So you got 1 success. And this is to fight someone, is to know them, to sort of kind of push back and forth there. That sort of friendly jab of we've done this. Oh, well, have you thought of this? That kind of back and forth, maybe a little bit of one-upsmanship kind of thing over security measures.
I think he's probably like, I think Ismina feels the pressure of showing up because he's the sword master and I'm technically the second still. So I think he's probably poking at me like, are you good enough at this? And I think her motivation is to be like, I actually know this place inside and out. And
you will get that 2 momentum to either create a trait or ask questions.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you what the complication is.
Excellent. I like the idea of creating the trait impressed if it will means that he'll talk to us later, but I wonder if
it will reduce
questions...
the ongoing difficulty for social interaction between you and him.
Okay. But I wonder if asking questions would be, well, he already gave me the information about the Zerat. Yeah, so I'll go with impressed.
I think you're kind of going back and forth, and he's becoming a little chummier. You kind of get into that mode of that, and he says, "Good. Then we'll do tomorrow. Do a demonstration." And you kind of realize that you've walked into that he's kind of maybe maneuvered you a little bit to a chance to try your fighting style against his.
Okay. I think she just kind of like smiles and then looks and says, "Oh, I didn't see your weapon. I know you don't necessarily carry visibly."
I am perhaps too classical in that my weapon is a blade, a sword.
Excellent. As is my master's. So
blades and shield tomorrow.
Certainly.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think she's not gonna say that like her style is primarily disarming people, but yeah, she's like, excellent. I look forward to it. May that be the only time it's needed. And
I hope so. Let's take 10, take our first break here, And when we come back, we'll bring the three of you together to kind of talk about what's going on, and then maybe do some other interactions. Sound good? Okay. Let's come back and have a chance for the three of you after these meetings, sometime after the interactions, getting together to talk with one another about what's gone on, what you've learned. Where do you think, Serafina, you're kind of the social engineer in some way, so where do you want that scene to take place?
I think we have that there is a that we have basically a little spot that's been set up as a hookah lounge. So we've got, colorful wall hangings and pillows and water pipes for with various substances for whoever wants.
And we'll see the three of you. This is probably early in the morning. The household is still kind of in some disarray, and it's the first chance of the three of you have had a chance to sit down with one another and kind of compare notes. So Stahl, when we come in on the scene, what are you saying to your colleagues?
Well, did I take them to the game to show them the
Then
game?
we'll do that. We'll assume that'll be tomorrow. It'll be its own scene.
Oh, okay. I'll say that I believe I made some headway on the Mentat, but it's very hard to tell with Mentats, so who knows?
That was certainly an animated conversation you guys were having. I don't know if I've seen a Mentat that animated in a while.
Well, they believed that our philosophy was fundamentally destructive, and so I had to set the record
Wow.
straight.
Destructive to be creative. We all know that.
Yeah.
Says Serafina without irony.
I didn't even tell them about the ancient rainforests and other forests burning down to give ground to new flourishing forests or anything. And I could have gone there, but I didn't.
You got your whole spiel ahead of you. You didn't even get to use half of it.
It's true.
You got a Mentat talking. That in itself is achievement.
Well, speaking of inadvertently getting ourselves into things, I went on a security check with Pericos, who seems to be in line, and somehow volunteered for a demonstration. And I think she looks down at the hookah thing in her hand, and she's like, I probably shouldn't even be doing this. I need to. I'm not sure when this demonstration is, but the Swordmaster wants to.
It's tobacco.
Test.
It's tobacco. It'll only sharpen
you. Certainly. Yeah, I think she nods and is like, yeah, so hopefully Zelf is fine with this, because better go well.
You're going to fight proxy to defend to show the mettle of our house. Bravo.
Yeah. Thank you. I will take those as well wishes, and we will hopefully save those congratulations for when they are deserved. Did you manage to not get yourself involved in a contest, Seraphine? Or are you the only one that managed to not get yourself in a competition tonight?
I didn't get involved in a competition by putting my weapon down. But I think I made an impression. I'm certain that I made an impression. The question is whether we can persuade Pericos to take the risk that I want them to.
What risk is that?
Throwing in with us.
Do we have a mandate from our Duke? Is that what they want? Like, do they want us to get cozy?
Yeah, have we heard anything from?
No,
No.
I haven't. But this is an opportunity such as we will never have again.
I mean,
they
when we
have
work together, we do get results, but apparently sometimes those results aren't always looked on in the same way. But
honestly, what do I have to lose? Ismina, I mean, my employee here hangs in the balance as it is.
The Duke
Well,
isn't
no.
very pleased with me either. I could use some some limelight.
If you can convert the Mentat, I'm sure it will be fine. I'm wondering, no, Serafina, I'm not questioning your judgment. I think that's definitely the direction to go in. I'm wondering if that means I should I beat their sword master, or should I lose
Oh,
on
yeah.
purpose?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Pericos has had every reason to treat us as upstarts up until this point. We were given this planet because it was a mess from their point of view. And someone had to clean it up, and the Imperium was tired of being responsible for it, so they were going to hand it off to someone that if they cleaned it up, fine, and if they didn't, they would have a scapegoat to blame. Pericos is the more established house, and we are in economic competition with them, so they view us as an unwelcome challenger in that regard. But circumstances have thrown them for a loop. And if we can persuade them that notwithstanding our modest means and recent succession to power, that we have talents beyond our reckoning, then they may decide that to put their cards on the table, at least to the degree that they're capable of doing so. That's why I chose to go with honesty and openness, because I think any other house that I know of would have become stingy with information and attempted to turn the situation hard to their advantage in order to extort the maximum information from them.
Well, we seem to have somewhat impressed them, and I think she will toast both of you with whatever implement this is. Here's to successfully cinching the knot of this bag. After
it's pretty good, isn't it? It's something something the smugglers brought in.
Oh, really? Okay. That's why I'm attempting metaphor. You're the metaphor person, and points directly at both of you guys. Both of y'all.
We need to. I'm reaching out to through Shan Shadesh to Rashida to see if anyone knows what is going on with the guild.
Oh,
this whole situation is, well, whatever the cause of it, it's frighteningly unstable. And if we can gain at least even a dim understanding as to what is going on, that may gain us an important tempo. But by all means, impress the hell out of him. If you can beat him. No, seriously, he strikes me as someone who will respect you enormously for even giving him a good contest.
That is the aim.
He doesn't strike me as the kind who would resent
A
being
victory.
equaled or even bested. Boy, if you could get that weapon away from him and give it back.
Let's cut forward. Let's kind of do a once around for talking to people or information gathering with NPCs or things, kind of setting up for what you want to do the next day, just to kind of frame that up. Fast on defense, okay, offense. I was going to say. Stahl's understanding of dueling is a little bit off there in the chat. Got to sell high, buy high.
It sounds like a stallion scene. You know what? You know, you got to be fast and slow on the defense.
The words mean different things. Words mean different things when you use them at different times.
So let me ask you, Serafina, who is it you want to talk to? You know, in the time either that night or the next morning, or what do you want to do? You mentioned maybe trying to get information.
Yes, I think so. There's a missing piece of information which our guests don't even have, and they were the ones caught up in it. And those people who navigate the starways without benefit of guild might have a key insight or three. What's going
on? This is some negotiation, essentially getting on communications up to your contacts in the further north there for Desparto. It takes some engineering because the communications relays are not in great shape, and you've also got those gravatics. So what do you think it is to kind of, once you do get a hold of somebody, to negotiate your way to getting somebody to talk to you?
Well, I have Shashandesh as an ally, which helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. So that'll lower the difficulty.
This is communications and duty.
Okay.
And I think I can try to use rapport.
I'll give you the lessening of difficulty, but I think because you're going over distances with strangers, I think rapport is going to be a little more challenging there. But the difficulty is a 1 because that she's vouching for you.
Okay. I'm just rolling straight up then. I got 1.
1. So what is it? They talk to some people and eventually they get somebody from the Smugglers Guild, a voice kind of disguised, and they say, "What is it you want to know?"
What is the guild is having internal strife, which has caused them to break a contract. What's going on?
It's not internal strife. They're locking down certain space lanes. There's a temporary pause. There is something big happening right now. And the guild is holding its breath. That is the best way that I can describe it.
Is it a matter? Is it a matter that they don't want to commit resources, that they're holding resources back, or that their strategic position is uncertain?
I think you ask questions that are too deep for someone like me.
Yeah, well,
All I can say is that there's a waiting here, and something is about to happen. I'd
okay.
be very nervous about it. Listen, we have our own modes of transport, but we also use the guild from time to time.
Sure.
They're often allies to us in some ways, but they are being reticent. They are being quiet. Whatever is going on has them worried as well.
If you find out more, here's how to get in touch with me, and we will consider it a favor.
Certainly, we'll work out a price at that point.
Agreed.
Stall, what do you want to do? Is there somebody you want to talk to? You want to make more preparations for the game? You want to try and find out information? What do you think?
Yeah, interesting, because I guess they'll be here for the rollout of the game anyway, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go talk to the head psycho-theologian person,
Okay.
but I'll invite the Mentat as well,
Oh,
since they'll kind of be... I think that if a Mentat were to see the game played, they would be privy to this information anyway, would they not?
possibly they might be able to read the best play.
So maybe it's just like a good faith thing that I am upfront about it with this person.
Yeah. So early the next day, you will contact the psychotheologian, and he'll say, "Well, yeah, we have a lot of the pieces in place here for you. Stall. We still have some of the information you need to slot in for us to get the proper response. Are you ready on that?
Do I have that?
You haven't really worked on that.
Yeah. I'll get on that right away. We had an interruption with the visit, but I will recommence my efforts forthwith.
Forthwith. So again, you found some of the pieces of the sort of the meme structure of the locals, but you wanted to get more to increase the utility of this thing. So what do you think it is? I mean, is this something you're bringing the Mentat in to bounce off of, or are you working with your own people?
Yeah, we could do a little buddy go into church day.
Yeah. If you're willing to bring her in on the process of analysis.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't need company when they go to church?
Absolutely. So what do you think that is, to put that in front of them and get more out of the equation than they get?
Understand?
Yeah, I like that.
Cultural studies.
Oh, definitely. That works for that.
And probably faith. Philosophy is a sharp blade.
Perfect. So that's a good set of stat there's for you. Are you
14.
spending momentum?
Ooh, how much momentum do we have? 2.
Yep.
Do I know at a player level how many successes I need to fill this clock?
to get the information that you need to kind of have the thing. I'd say right now there's some modifiers down because you've got some traits that you've put on the situation. I think we want 3 successes to get what you need to get the information to have this game in play.
Okay, I'll spend 1 momentum.
Okay.
I want it to be momentous. 3d20. And then cultural studies. So if it's a 6 or lower, then it's a double success, right?
Absolutely.
Come on, low. Yes, 6, 16, 13.
Okay. So that's what? That's
3.
three successes. So you will get this information. Tell me, what is it that she brings to the table in kind of looking at this game to help you?
Oh, maybe she's just more aware of other cultures than I am. So like when I'm grappling with a particular piece, it's just specifically from a philosophical aspect of it that is from a culture that I'm unaware of yet.
And she moves from being sort of viewing this in that kind of abstract to now you've got something concrete. You've got a formula, you've got a game, you've got something, and that clearly intrigues her and draws her attention. You will have this game, and she says, "Are you going to be? What is the word? Is it play testing? Putting it into progress? What are we imagining here for this master stall?"
It could be an interesting cooperative endeavor to have members of our house pitted against members of your house playing the game. And since you know how it works, you would be gleaning as much information about our house as we would be gleaning about yours, and we could see how the population reacts.
I am reluctant on that score, but I do think that my Duke would be interested to watch the first play of this.
Of course, you could come see the first. I wonder. Yeah, I mean, we could some sort of like dual private showing of it with. Maybe it could even just be people that we trust on planet to make sure that it works, so that it arranges their ideologies correctly when they're slotted into play it or something.
Certainly, we would enjoy seeing how all those pieces fall into place. Let me ask you this. We have it under advisement that there is a Bene Gesserit present on planet. Is that something that we should be concerned with? It is fair to say to me that you do not wish to speak of this. My question was in the moment.
I'll say that in the time that I've been here, shortly before you arrived, somebody, I don't know who exactly, sent a hunter-killer on me.
She looks thoughtful at that. That's very interesting.
With perspective, I also find it interesting.
She says, I find it interesting as well that you managed to survive. Perhaps there is more to you than first meets the eye.
Perhaps.
Let's come to Ismina then.
Yes.
Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to do?
Yes, I think Stahl is being very cool and showing off all his preparations, and I think Ismina is definitely going to talk to the Swordmaster and is just doing a lot of drills. I think she just needs
Swordmaster
whatever.
is like, I'm sorry, what?
So, good news, it went well. He was very impressed. Bad news, he's so impressed that he wants a demonstration. So, you trained me well, right? This is gonna be fine. She's just right. He uses a blade. I do know this.
Paracos have a very particular style. Um, uh, Watch them. They will generally use a single blade, but they will use a cloth or cloak on the off arm. That's within the bounds of the dueling thing. A sash or a scarf is often weighted. So it does not function. I've taught you to watch for the dagger in the offhand. What they do is something different. So you will need to be more flexible.
I was wondering what other things fall under being allowed for dueling. You mentioned pushing those rules. You know that most of my recent experience has not been, dueling for the honor of things, but rather a more functional thing. And she just kind of like gesticulates at all of her like stinky poisons and things.
None of that. If he's called for the duel and he's asked for this, it will be to first hit. Given that you have shields, it will just require, it will be more of a strategic battle than anything else.
Okay. All right.
Where is your strength lie?
In fighting to protect something I know is in danger.
Then think of it that the honor of your Duke is what is in danger here. You are good at disarming. Taking the blade away from them, it counts as much as a hit as anything else.
Okay. I've had to practice with your dueling, and you know that some masters create copies of themselves, others create a sort of counterbalance to them, and I feel like that is what your training has given me. So
you're the best duelist I've trained yet. If you weren't, you wouldn't be my second. I wouldn't trust the life of the Duke in your hands otherwise.
she nods and takes that very seriously, and it's like, that means a lot, Swordmaster. I will do my utmost to acquit your training and most of all the house to the best that could possibly happen.
I have to leave so much in your hands as the War Master and I are doing what we can to make sure that the city is secured and so on.
Are there any other threats pressing in?
Those Zerat agents came from Saknagan. And there were clearly others. I suspect that when you and your comrades appeared there in Saknagan, they moved down here to the capital. I don't know yet. I haven't been able to determine whether they were aware of what was going to happen with Paracos.
I did hear from the other sword master, there was a Zerat vessel on the guild where involved with their incident.
That's very interesting. Zerat have no active bases in this area. There's no reason mean, certainly we knew they would have people here, but to have a larger vessel like that,
How could a smaller house have gotten so much influence with the guild already? It took us so long to get here.
because they're working for somebody larger. That's the only way. Someone is pulling the strings here at a higher level.
Okay. Well, regardless of this
Listen, here's the
demonstration.
thing. If the leader of House Paracos is killed under our watch, that will not go well for us. You understand that? Because whatever heir there is to Paracos will burn this planet to the ground. So Zerat doesn't need to kill us, doesn't need to do Canlay. They need to do damage here. We are in an incredibly vulnerable position.
Keep it in mind. Thank you. And you can alert me at any time. I'll be listening.
And he will nod. And he says, I know you've been thinking over it in your mind. I won't force you to do another round of dueling. Just prepare yourself and get some rest. You smell of shisha. Have you been smoking?
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
She's like, just temporary lapse. I'm on my way.
Okay.
I'll do some push-ups. Yeah.
So let's cut forward. Actually, let's take our 5 here, and then let's do the dueling scene. Let's do the game scene, and some other things. That sound okay? So we'll just take a brief 5. This time I will hit the pause on the recording. So let's start with the game. They've got a space set up for this. The psychotheologians have got the area. It's a team game. They've gotten some local people that essentially they've offered money to try out this thing, food coupons, that kind of thing, and when word gets around that this is going on, you will get an audience. So what does this look like, Fraser?
It's in like a really large space, and I'm assuming it would be in like maybe some sort of renovated or just cleaned up space where they probably had this auditorium for some other sort of sports or games, but then that other house came.
They've washed the
Imperiums.
blood off of the grounds. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're sort of like reclaiming this space. And I think it looks kind of like this is very nerdy, but it is me, so it makes sense. It's on brand. Have you seen the Magicians TV show?
Not more than the first couple episodes, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, in it, I can't remember what the heck they call this game, but it looks like people standing in chess squares and they throw different things, and there's just like all this weird magic stuff going on, but it basically looks like people playing a chess-like variant thing, and I think that's roughly what this looks like as well.
And give me a sense, what is the lesson that or even just the trait of some kind that their playing of this game attempts to reinforce or establish as a pattern of thought for the players here?
Yeah, so like when they select a role, that would be telegraphing certain aspects of them and how they execute the role. And then I think otherwise it would just be trying to communicate like basic things that on a surface level it would be like, hey, this is a good teamwork game. This is all about teamwork and coalition and planet togetherness and not nationality.
So the message really is a sense of joining and cooperation.
Yeah.
And how does that then, like one of your ideas is to tie it into, to reinforce positive vision of your house's philosophy, or of your house itself. So what's the connection that's being made there to reinforce that?
Well, I was thinking more like we would be using the game as a way of collecting all this information on everyone who is playing it.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of ingratiating ourselves to them, I was thinking more of it like same thing with Gladiator, where their preoccupations are lost. They just, it's like a spectacle. Like it's engineered to be something that's like interesting to watch and participate in, and then that way they it's just pure entertainment propaganda.
Okay. So entertainment propaganda, you're reinforcing, you're supporting the people who play, that kind of thing. You've got some tools in that. Let's have you roll. What do you think it is roll for you? You've got the information in there. I want to see how well this goes off. You've built this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So really the number of successes is, you're not hitting necessarily difficult, but we're going to see how good this is.
Okay. I'm not sure what skill would be best. Do you have a notion?
So this is about your sort of mental thinking about this. So I would say communication or understanding would be the skill that's used. But I think the drive is really, it is about how you see where this is coming from, like why you're doing this and what you're pushing towards.
I think it would be a philosophy as a sharp blade thing. Like it's an extension of my trying to wield philosophy in that kind of way.
You're making it into a concrete device, a concrete tool. So yeah, let's have you roll with that.
Okie dokie. So 14, I think.
Yeah.
2d20. 18 and an 11. So one success.
One success. And you've spent your determination.
Yes.
And I believe the 2 momentum that was in the pool was spent giving you that reroll earlier, right?
I think there was 2,
right.
and then I spent 1, didn't I?
There was 2. I spent 2 to.
Oh, when I was messing up.
Yeah. So
was I supposed to take the momentum out myself?
Okay. Yeah. So we're all good there.
So maybe you want more threats.
So what do you? Well, see, we're at that state where you spend threat to before the thing. So let me ask you this: what is it that like for you is the piece that isn't quite missing, isn't quite there, that is missing?
Oh, I know. It's probably the fact that all of the people who are playing are in one way or another already allied with us, and we don't have data from the people that we actually need the data from, the people that still need sorting into allies or bad guys, or which ideology they're particularly subscribing to.
And there is a bit where the Mentat, who is watching this with you, Shajari, she says, so how do you plan to put this into play on the planet?
I'm going to make it a spectacle such that anyone who doesn't participate will be part of an outgroup that they will not be able to stand.
Interesting. There is there is an echo of the old gladiatorial games and bullfights that happen in other houses, but your family is not one for those blood sports.
No, we needed to distance our house from the rule of the tyrannical that was here previously.
Interesting. I can tell that you're not completely satisfied with how this went.
Well, we still need more data from people who are going to be reticent to participate. That will be the major stumbling block.
Interesting. Interesting. And she seems thoughtful.
Penny for your thoughts.
You definitely noticed that among the people that came to watch this, the consort was not amongst them.
Oh, is that good or bad? Who knows?
He was supportive of you, or was supportive of your fellow Hayden. So he's at least predisposed to your group, but he didn't show up.
Maybe Hayden's with him.
Dun dun dun. Ismina,
Maybe his sister knows something. Yes.
what does this dueling space look like?
I think it's in a courtyard area. I think it's like kind of a large rounded area. It's got like stone seats in a sort of semi-amphitheater setup. And it's a kind of a dusty, sort of sandy, gravelly center. So that there's no it's kind of set up in a way where everybody has a good angle and everything to kind of prevent dirty fighting, or it look like it's preventing dirty fighting. So obviously the people best at it can make it happen somehow. But yes, I think it's pretty simple and spare. There's racks of weapons off like behind, which you would take, but the mention of gladiatorial I think is apt, as it definitely looks a lot more like that, like a throwback from those, or like it's evoking that than it is evoking progress and futuristic things.
Probably the most futuristic thing are the like suspensor lights that are kind of hanging over this. But there are some of the people from the household guard that are here. Serafina is there, and there will be a bit when the swordmaster arrives there, Melet, and with him is his duke and a couple of the other entourage people, and your duke arrives along with the consort, and a couple of other senior people that kind of move into position to stand by and observe. Dr. Sung is there, maybe looking a little irritated. This is the kind of thing that he is not entirely enthused about. And the heir is there.
And what is their demeanor? Are they excited about this, or are they like, this is another obligation, or?
This is more interesting than anything they've had to do for the last few days. This is like this whole incident, the arrival of these strangers and all of this, that they are just, this is great. And they kind of rushed over here because they were watching this weird game that Stahl came up with, and now they're here for this, and they are so just jazzed about this whole thing.
Fantastic.
And you will come out essentially, Malik, strips down to his, the basic tight fit uniform there, and he has his shield device there, and you get to your dueling uniform. Yes, Serafina.
I'd like to use passive scrutiny on him
Okay.
and ask, what's he expecting from Ismina?
He is expecting her to overstep herself to try and impress against a person who is clearly better than her.
I'm going to go down to Ismina and to wish her good luck and give her a kiss on the cheek and whisper what I have seen.
I think she's like briefly like, what? But then with the whispering is like, yes, okay, I see. And then I think just kind of like nods and smiles like, then we will do our best to disappoint him. Thank you.
And
But
Serafina nods and takes her seat in the.
And he will go over so the two of you can exchange weapons to take a look at them to be certain. Now, do you fight with blade and short blade, or are you single blade? What is your style here?
I think that she usually has two shorter blades.
Okay.
Like it's yeah. She normally has two smaller ones, very much designed for up close combat because she needs to get close.
So a little bit of that low key, like two blade in hand kind of thing. Okay. And he'll pass over his, light blade, and he'll hand you essentially the scarf that he uses that is weighted, that he eschews using a second blade. It's the single blade in this, to give you a chance to look over and make sure that there's no hidden tricks or anything like that to it.
Yeah, I think she just looks over it with a sense of appreciation, like, oh, this is a nice, like, she's heard of this technique but hasn't got a chance to see it up close, and hands it back and nods appreciatively and is like, very nice.
And he will go to step into the ring. He will like you, both of you will turn and bow to your respective dukes to signal the start of this, and you will take your stance. What does your stance look like? Like when you go to step to like present yourself, what do we see on screen?
I think I think it's she kind of like steps, instead of stepping like forward a little bit, she kind of sits back a little bit. So she kind of sits down a little and has her blades kind of out and down by her side, but knees bent, looks pretty much, it looks like a sort of defensive position, like she's there ready to.
Interesting. So one of the things is that you're both using a shield, so effectively that negates. So we'll set that aside in here, but it does mean that the potential damage that you could deal with to one another is modest. So when dueling, we kind of do an interesting thing. Each of your hands is kind of a zone in this. Okay. So imagine you've got a blade in each of your hands. He's got sword in one hand, and then he's got the scarf in the other. And so one of the things you're trying to do is those kind of form sort of a guard position. So one of the things you want to do is get that out of position so that you can strike in some ways. And I'm going to let you go first.
Oh boy.
What do you want to try and do here?
I me see. I would like to. Ugh, I know. I definitely like. I don't want to. I don't. She's not going to lunge for him. I think she's going to be examining him to see. She wants him to make the first move and wants to see if she can suss out in what direction he's going to move, to see
Okay.
if she can like trip him or something like
So it
that.
feels to me like you're trying to create a trait right now. Like you're
Oh.
trying to get an edge that you can use, right?
Yeah.
So let's have you roll. It's a difficulty 2 to create a trait. And what do you want to do that with?
I think, well, I think it's battle for sure. And I think it's duty, because she's not doing it, yeah, trying to overstep to gain glory herself. Sensing where the goal is to, like, you're in tempo with someone and you want to do something off tempo to get
Okay.
them off guard.
Then let's
So
have you.
she wants to, somehow interrupt that tempo. Would this count as defensive tactics?
Yeah, I think so. I think you are trying to play more for a feint to do that.
Okay, so is that 3 dice? I forgot. Or no,
It's 2 dice,
that's 2 dice, but that
and
is
with defensive fighting with your battle skill, then anything that rolls that number or under is going to be 2 successes.
okay. Got it. Oh, and now it's just taking forever to load. That's exciting. Wait, what is battle and duty? I think that's 1 under. Yes.
Yeah, so it's so that's 2
Is that 2
successes.
successes?
So it is at that first round, the first action, we see you kind of maneuver. And what do you want to call that trait?
I do think off tempo
Okay.
is the idea, or if it needs to be, specifically, this is a trait on him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
He
Yeah.
is going to kind of try to move boldly up into your zone to kind of force your blades out of place. That's his goal. So I'm going to roll for him. Let's do this with my 2d20. So let's see. And there is that thing. He's moved your blades out of position. You've got him off tempo. He's forced both the right and left hand edge of the blades over in that space to try and give himself some room. So what do you want to try and do? Do you want to try and disarm?
Want to sweep his legs. I was like, he's got all up in my business. So now that he's got me like this, definitely going to like use the because the blades are somewhat a distraction for her for the actual kind of like martial arts to get people out.
Okay.
Like in her mind. Yeah, she's definitely wants to like
I will roll for his defend, because this is this actual clash. I'll spend 1 of my threat.
Ooh.
Is that like momentum for you, like an additional die?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be 2 successes.
Okay. Do I have, so I don't roll to see if I can beat that, or?
Oh, now you do. Yep. Yeah. And
Okay.
you can, and because you've used that off tempo, you essentially it ate one of his successes, so he's just at that 2 successes.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Would this count as, I'm trying to think if I could roll this under discipline. If this counts as self-control, like being able to control my limbs and
Yeah, you are trying to compel or threaten them, essentially trying to do that.
Okay. So this would be discipline duty. All right. Oh, oh no.
So
Yeah, okay. That's a failure and a complication. Let's see. What, I don't think I have anything in my back
so
pocket.
I think that what happens there is you go to sweep the leg, and that scarf whips out, and one of your blades is gone. And he's going to take advantage to try and come in to strike at you. Okay.
Yes.
So let me do that. Ooh, well, he only has 1 success on you, even though he got a crit because, of course, you did the off tempo. And he almost got a complication. So roll to defend.
Okay. And I will, that's just a straight roll, right? Or do I need to pick what I'm rolling under?
Well, it'll be battle and something else.
Duty, yeah, probably. Yep. Yeah.
So
but I'm using defensive.
Yeah.
Would my defensive combat
So
count?
2 successes.
Okay,
so
that make that.
So you've got a momentum now. Do you want to hang on to
Yay.
that for this next round for your follow-up?
Probably.
Okay.
Yes.
And does your the reason I fight, does that
I was, oh, right. Let's see. When you attempted that. Well, I know my responsibilities. This is very much she's defending. Yeah.
Okay.
But does that count on a defend?
So when you attempt a battle test and the drive statement aligns, then you get to reroll one of those d20s.
Yes.
So you've got the action. You've got a chance to use momentum, so you can spend that to give yourself an extra die. And you've got, tell me how you're going to bring your duty statement here into play.
Yeah. I think that this grappling is reminding her a lot of like tangling with those assassins in Saknagan, like and these things. I think as she is it's down to 1 blade, and his scarf is there, but it hasn't wiped her out yet. I think she glimpses the sight of the dukes, both of them sitting there, and just thinks like how much this matters in this moment. And I think she's going to, I think, yeah, use her free arm to try and like the leg didn't work, but she's gonna try and like turn around and snag him from behind or grab his arm around like in the other direction. So
a battle plus duty. You're trying to land that blow while you've got the momentum here.
Yeah, so I'm spending that momentum.
So
for
it'd
an
be
extra
3d20.
Yes. And this I'm attempting to disarm, so I'm using defensive.
Okay. And you get to potentially re-roll one of those dice.
Yes. And so I'm aiming for 15 or lower. I'm gonna use my reroll on that 19. That's still only 1 success so far. Yeah.
Now you've got 3 successes. Okay, because that's under your thing. So we've got 3 successes. So tell me what that looks like. Tell me what that looks like when you get that blade on him in a position where he has to stop. What happens?
I think she glimpses that, and then what it looks like is this flash of like there's this kind of showy dual stuff happening, and what it looks like is suddenly like she just moves quickly in like an odd direction that you would expect a duelist to like riposte with, and she's suddenly behind him and has used her free arm to bend his arm up and is holding his own blade to his throat.
And there's a little bit of a, from the you've got a little home team advantage, so there is a little bit of people like yes, and he graciously turns his blade down, like he doesn't get pouty or anything. He turns that down, and he will say, "I am bested."
And I think she just nods and says, excellent fight. I would not want to meet you under in battle in any unfavorable circumstances, in honor.
He says, "I would say much the same." And you can see his Duke is not pleased. Like she's not pleased. She's putting on the best face that she can, but she will retreat back, and the Duke of Paracos will gesture for you to come forward.
Okay, yeah, I think she's like, yes, like privately, like you absolutely. She's not physically celebrating, yeah, but she walks over and nods, is very respectful, and she definitely like she stepped away from Menlac, like as to not be embarrassing about anything. So yeah, but she presents herself.
And the Duke looks to your Duke to kind of get permission, and then says, she says, unfortunately, I am not particularly well equipped at this moment to grant the gifts I would for such a victory. But allow me to present this ring to you by way of a token from House Paracos to you and yours. And pulls out. It's not a formal royal signet ring or anything like that, but it is definitely an emerald and a beautiful setting there with the markers of Paracos that she will hand to you.
Wow. Yeah, I think Ismina bows and says, thank you. I will wear this as a token of hopefully a good relationship to come instead of one of victory. It's probably, yeah. She, in whatever gracious way, she's
absolutely
like, I'm supposed to say nice things and I don't know how to do that.
Words are hard. Yes. So we'll see that occur. There's some relaxation. Serafina, what is your come down from watching this?
My come down? Well, Serafina's showing more emotion on this than most people have seen her show in a week. And she goes up to Ismina and she says, you were, and she just pauses, and you see that she has swallowed the word that was going to come out. Very proficient. It was a pleasure to watch you.
She kind of just nods and smiles and is like, thank you for your information. I would likely have overstepped if I hadn't had that reminder. So thank you.
I've never seen a move like that.
I mean, it was, she smiles and kind of shows off shows the ring. He's like, hopefully,
Oh my gosh.
oh, I don't know what it means exactly, but hopefully it'll help. She's like, I don't know what that means, but
It's
hopefully it's good.
it's a mark of respect that appropriated from a superior to an inferior. Wow. that was fantastic.
And she just smiles and is like, thanks so much. And she's like, and then I needed you around because I immediately said something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But she just was like, I wish all of our conflicts were happening on this ring out here instead of all of the other ones. So best of luck to your competitions ahead. And just kind of nods.
Yes.
Serafina,
Yes.
there'll be a moment where one of the people from your division will come and say, Serafina, there is communication. I need to wishes to speak with you privately.
Of course. Serafina thumbs up her mental discipline and gets all serious again. Yes, I'm coming.
I know it kind of takes you to the offices with the communications kind of shielded and protected, and we'll get you on the line.
This is here.
You said to contact you if we had any further information.
Yes.
What is it worth to you?
Depends what it is.
Now, see, unfortunately, what it is going to give things away. So tell me what you're throwing into our cups.
%50 tax abeyance for 3 months.
Yes, you still might be alive by that time. We have information that 2 things have occurred. One is that your enemies, House Zerat, have allied themselves with the Harkonnens. But
the viewer sees Serafina's eyes close for a moment.
But that's not the real problem. House Atreides has fallen and the Harkonnens have retaken Arrakis.
And the spice. That's why the guilt.
And Stahl, I think you'll look around here because this is post game, and maybe you went to see Ismina's thing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think you see the Mentat around anywhere. And that is where we're going to leave off right now. I'm going to put my pin in that right there. You may all choose a new talent for the final session if you wish. If you want to go through, pick one of those lovely talents. And next time we'll deal with the fallout of those things. Does that sound okay?
Yes, I'll take the talent destroy Mentat.
I would like to do a quick stars and wishes if you don't mind, particularly wishes for things you want to see in our final session. If there's anything you're like, oh, I really want to get this scene on the table. Brandon, can I start with you?
Yes. As far as stars go, there was a lot to like. I loved the game. I loved the whole situation. Pericos being forced by circumstances into a situation that's gives an opportunity is perfect and lovely, and the raison d'etre for the whole thing is great. So that's a big star to you, and of course the battle scene, wonderful. The As far as wishes go, I think
I'll
I think
point out one
so.
thing. Definitely, we want to close the deal on that ally clock potentially.
It is absolutely,
And I
and
think Ismina's thing will go a couple of ticks towards that, certainly impressing them for that you can capitalize on.
Cool.
that's very that's obviously that's important to Serafina. But from a dramatic point of view, it's also appropriate that Serafina has a chance to really lay herself down for duty, and that could be to the house, or it could be, as the viewer knows by now, to Ismina.
Oh wow, that I don't know how I would go with as soon as between our characters. I was like, who has duty to protecting people? That would certainly be really interesting dramatically
Yeah.
to see
So
how that plays out.
because Serafina is duty bound, and this is a critical point, and she wouldn't, and it would be very interesting. So that's my wish.
Excellent. Fraser, stars, wishes?
Yeah, I thought the fight was really fun, and I liked locking minds with the Mentat, even though my mind as a player was a little bit gibbery. It's like, me say good thing now.
That's why we go to the dice.
Yeah, I say this really cool thing abstractly. And I really liked all the moments with Serafina being present for the fight and for inserting the whatchamacallit, the dynamic where Serafina realized the Mentat needed to be taken care of, and then I got to take care of the Mentat. It was really nice. And a wish, I don't know. Oh, and I really like the parallel with Dune too. It's really fun, where it's like, oh no, they've been taken, and we kind of find out the reason for the guild stuff at the beginning, which is cool. It all works very well. Wish, I don't know. My big long project was just the game thing, and that's happened. So I don't know. It would be interesting to confront the Mentat with our philosophy to see if it would change their mind, because I do think it's the truth. But the weird thing, as I'm thinking about it, is that, like, even though I believe it's the truth, it doesn't mean that it's like the actual capital T truth,
right?
Which is what the Mentat would probably pay more attention to than anything. So I don't know, maybe just some sort of another locking of minds, maybe when I'm more erudite.
Get the Mentat in the wind. We get the Bene Gesserit in the wind. Yeah, both of them.
I'll take them on both at the same time. No big deal.
I
with
see.
one hand, one with the other.
I rename my right fist Thunder and my left fist Lightning.
Danielle, stars, wishes.
Yeah, stars too. I really enjoyed the Mentat conversation. I thought Fraser did a great job. I was like, I'm glad I'm not talking with the Mentat right now. But also star 2 Lowell 4. I thought you role played that Mentat really well. I think that's a really difficult challenge to do that and be like, yes, this is definitely what's happening. But that scene felt like it had such a ring of veracity to it on both of y'all's sides. I appreciated that passive scrutiny at the front of the fight, Brandon. I thought that was really cool,
Smart.
especially when scenes are set up to kind of be like, well, now it's this person's thing. Well, now it's that person's thing. So I think it's cool. I thought it was really neat to see Serafina like injected into this scene in a way that gave it some emotional weight as well. I really liked the idea of the complication being a duel. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. Where you're bracing for a dice, it's just going to be bad, but the complication was actually a lot of fun. So I appreciated that. And being called out for smoking, which was just fantastic. Ismina being so caught off guard. She's just like, I promise I'm not a bad kid. So as far as wishes, I would love to just kind of confront some of this. We've spent a lot of the threats have been, like we've gotten to confront like some of them, kind of breaking through here and there. So it'll be a lot of fun to kind of see that. I wish we just, the session kind of took us in a different direction, but kind of seeing the consort and Mentat connection, and does that factor into this at all?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder what that's about. So yeah, I think getting to do some protecting, if for some reason Serafina tries to sacrifice herself for Ismina, I'm sure she's gonna do her best to try and flip that scenario around, because that's just who she is as a person. So that'll be interesting to kind of deal with there too. So I'm just kind of really interested to sort of hopefully defend the house and put us in a good position and kind of like close that clock. But it was a lot of fun to impress people, and I really enjoyed getting to come up with different combat moves. Thanks for coming up with such a great, like, this is their fighting style, so it gave me such a clear fictional thing of like, I'm gonna do this, and it sounds impressive and fun, even if I have not spent hours studying different combat techniques.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the recording. I can find that button.